a guy who's been on the show before, but now finally in person, one of the stars of East New York that is just premiered on CBS, and you can stream also on demand on Paramount Plus, which you can get also on Roku. Good to see you, Jimmy Smits.
Here in the studio.
In the studio.
With Run, Rich, Run.
That's right. That's right. I'm thrilled that you are here. Thank you, Jimmy. It's just great to see you back in this genre. Jimmy, what's it like for you?
It's fun. It's fun revisiting because we did so much research, I guess, on Blue, and then the kind of responsibility that we have, knowing that I did Blue 20-something years ago, and of course the role of the dynamic between law enforcement and the community has changed
significantly.
Yes, absolutely, 100%, and that's one of the things that the creators of the show want to kind of focus on. So.
Well, I mean, that's the creators of the show also have the DNA of NYPD Blue, and so obviously an interesting take on policing is what they're expert at. And back here on our terrestrial radio network, Jimmy Smits is here. We just saw a clip of East New York on CBS, and just again, you're back. Oh, there's Richard Kind right there in the middle.
Oh yeah,
right
Richard
there.
Kind.
Richard Kind. Okay.
Ruben Santiago Hudson.
Yeah, you're back in New York
Amanda
City.
Warren.
Yeah, you're back in New York City. I guess it's a different role than Spin City from him right there. I would say from his last time in New York.
Great job.
Yeah, no question about it. So you're from East New York originally. So this is like full circle for you, huh? Pretty much.
I can't tell you on a day-to-day basis when we're out there actually shooting.
Yeah.
And we shoot all around Brooklyn, but when we do shoot in East New York, some of the set piece sequences that we've done have been on streets that I, trampled on as a teenager.
Is that right?
We were shooting in a church lot the other day that my sister did her first communion and got married in, and
Get
it was
out of
like
here.
it's. So I'm just flushed with memories. And the cast is probably tired of me already going, that's the high school I went to. That's where I saw Al Sharpton first speak when he was a kid. The thing, the silly things.
That is so great. So, but at least you bring that to the role, and that's pretty cool. So, and I was talking with you about it a little bit in the back here. So East New York, is that a Met or a Yankee area? What is that?
Well, you see, it's East New York, so it's the easternmost part of Brooklyn, so it's close to the Queens border. So there are a lot of Met fans, but I'm like Yankee. We lived all around New York. I did my wonder years in Brooklyn, like junior high school and high school, college. But growing up, we lived in the Bronx for a good while, and my dad. He knew the Pepitone family, which Joe Pepitone was the first baseman on.
In some of the Yankee teams before, the 70s years I was just talking about, he was that was right around that time. So did you grow up in the old Yankee Stadium?
Oh, absolutely, going to Yankee Stadium, and just following 7 Mickey Mantle, 9 Roger Maris. Yankee.
What do you think of Judge hitting 62? What do you think of that?
I mean.
What does that mean to you, Jimmy Smits?
It's just about the person that he is.
Yes.
And you talk about DNA in the storybook of the Yankees, that he has that same kind of being a wonderful athlete, but at the same time knowing what team is all about. And I mean, the same thing that Jeter had, and
he does have a very Jeter-like quality to him as well. Where you're an A-list star in New York, you never hear a bad word about him. He never winds up on the wrong side of the newspaper. He does have a Jeter-like quality to him.
No, absolutely, and it was just wow. It wasn't. I was on a plane coming here to see you, and my family was like, "Yo, it's happening! It happened." Turn the TV on in the plane. I was like, no, I'm on the wrong airlines. They don't have it.
They didn't have the feed, huh?
So I was watching. I watched clips.
Gosh.
But it was to think that people would like walking him like Boston didn't want to really give him any juice.
But the beautiful thing about him is he didn't change his approach the entire time.
Absolutely.
He didn't go in the toilet. He didn't go like 2 for the 30. He was walking. He was scoring. He was doing what he needed to do.
Walking, scoring, right. Being a team player,
exactly, right. Jimmy. Exactly. And
Love it.
Yes, me too. Jimmy Smits is here from East New York, again on CBS, available to stream live and on demand on Paramount Plus. It premiered this past Sunday, and we just saw a clip of the show, and I'm such a fan of yours and NYPD Blue from back in the day. I noticed, because again, it's the executive producers. There's some DNA from NYPD Blue.
Yeah,
right? Billy Finkelstein.
Yeah. William Finkelstein,
Right.
Who started out on L.A. Law, sent a spec script to Bochco and started out on L.A. Law.
Right.
And worked on Blue after that. And Michael Robin, who also started out as working on post-production as an intern and then worked his way up through the Bochco ranks. It's in there. So there was a trust, besides the whole East New York thing.
Right.
There was a trust that the shorthand that we have, they have a young creator named Michael Flynn, who is just, bringing his A game, and has also worked with David Kelly, who has that kind of same, that the same DNA about the words on the page.
Right.
And how you can do, in the framework of what network TV is, you're doing a police procedural, but that character is important. So
of course, and you're naming all people from, like, I guess the Stephen Bochco tree, with David
exactly.
E. Kelly and the other names that you mentioned. But I picked up on that clip, not just your acting and what was being said, but the telephones in the background. Like that's like old school NYPD Blue, because it's a working police department.
Right,
like it's the real deal of what you're portraying to everybody on camera. So when you started doing this, did you have flashbacks to the Blue days when you were NYPD Blue days?
On this particular show?
On this particular show?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's so different for me because I'm in uniform now, and the guy is like. The guy's vibe is totally like a rock, a pillar. Mm-hmm. I play a borough commander of Brooklyn, who is tasked with picking a young deputy inspector, played by Amanda Warren, to be in charge of this particular precinct in East New York. And she wants to kind of like institute all of these new ways of how to deal with law enforcement, and about my character giving her the space to do that. So it's part of the dynamic of what we're going to be doing on a week to week, and that character is at the forefront. And
so is it true, just going a little bit back in the day here with you, Jimmy, and then I've got a celebrity true or false for you. Is it true that you originally for NYPD Blue had a character that you turned down a role for? Is that true? And that character turned into the Caruso character who you wound up eventually replacing, or is that true or false?
Kind of, sort of. I mean, I was working on Law, and I had finished my commitment, but I had a wonderful affinity with Stephen Bochco. He did so much for me in terms of
your
career stuff, and I did get to see the pilot script of NYPD Blue, but the character was written for Kelly, who was this Irish American guy, and I don't know if we can make that.
So he offered you the role of John Kelly.
Oh man, come on, we're not supposed to do this.
Okay,
kiss and tell. Okay, let me just say that it came back to me.
Okay, it came back to you.
It came back.
All right,
it was wonderful the way it happened.
Okay, in Detective Bobby Simone. But you did get to see an actual script of NYPD Blue before it launched.
Oh, yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
All right. Well, then let's get to some other things that you can tell me whether they're true or false. Here we go. It's Jimmy Smits, celebrity true or false. Roll our incredible animation.
Celebrity true or false.
You can't handle the truth.
Here we go. There you go. That's our production value, Jimmy Smits.
Love it.
First one up for you, celebrity true or false. True or false, you had a brief stint as a cabbie in New York before getting regular work on soap operas. Is that true or false?
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but these are like qualified things. It wasn't like I you
didn't have a hack license?
No. I mean, I did a couple of stints. Yeah.
Just driving? Just trying to make ends meet is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And then how'd you get on a soap? How did you get your first
the whole thing with soaps was it's kind of while I was doing theater off Broadway, you kind of like did soaps if you could to date players on a soap to really support yourself, because You don't make a lot off Broadway.
But how'd you get discovered? Just off Broadway? Is that what it was?
Just started doing theater, a lot of theater work, and working regional theater, and that was the whole thing. Theater,
Okay.
and then little parts on soap, and then my first TV job was on the pilot of Miami Vice.
You didn't last very long, right?
I didn't last long at all. 5 minutes and I'm out. But I knew going in that's what it was going to be.
That's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Were you the first guy that got off of Miami Vice in the history of Miami Vice?
Oh,
were you
man.
the first one?
No,
Jimmy Smits?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Actually, yeah. The character was Don Johnson's original partner before.
Right.
So it set the story in motion that he passed away. So I knew going in that
what your role was.
It was one and out. It wasn't like I was going to come back on, with Phil Collins videos, talking to Don Johnson in his ear. No, but it was good being there during that time because, I was a young actor doing a lot of theater and just seeing the dynamic of what Michael Mann wanted to do with that show and how that show changed the dynamic of how music and story can be.
Sure did. And then you eventually hooked up with a guy who totally changed television as well, and Stephen Bochco. True or false, you did not perform well in your first LA Law audition in New York, so you flew to LA, got a second audition, and nailed it. Is that a true story?
That's like super true.
What happened?
Like super true. I had an audition in New York, and they but it was a network audition. They was trying to weed people out, basically. So they kind of put all this legal dialogue in front. I just did terribly. And a friend of mine that I went to school with said, "You didn't really see the people involved, and so come over here." And I took one of those 99. At that time, it was People Express.
People Express, where you got to pay for your flight halfway over the country. Like, what, they're going to give you a parachute if you didn't pay for it?
100%.
I remember People's Express.
People Express, and I took it.
I remember that.
And I had an audition with Stephen Bochco and Greg Hoblet, who directed the pilot. And I had done some work with on a movie that Peter Hyams directed, and Peter and Stephen knew each other. So the audition went well, but I got a little confirmation from the outside there.
Is that where you first met Stephen Bochco? At that audition?
At that audition. I walked in, and Steve used to have all these sports paraphernalia. So he had when I walked into the audition, he had these baseball bats and he was swinging the bat. He was like, "So if you don't do good on this, this is what's going to happen."
It's like the Untouchables. I thought you said he had Emmys. He had those too all over.
He had a lot of them.
I think he had how much did we determine he got in his first night for Hill Street? Was it 14? Unbelievable.
It was
okay.
a lot.
Why do you think LA Law worked so well? What do you think, Jimmy?
I mean, of course, it's all, for me, good television is all about the writing, what's on the page. But I think the fact that it was the ensemble, the way the ensemble was cooking, we were like running on all cylinders, and it just showed the legal system in a different kind of way that it hadn't been seen before, with all its blemishes and.
Sure, of course. Well, I mean, it's Los Angeles. Next one for you, Jimmy Smits. True or false? Your West Wing character, Matthew Santos, was loosely based on Barack Obama, even though he wasn't even a U.S. senator at the time. Is that true or false?
That's true.
So somebody had already discovered who he was and decided to...
He was doing a lot of great work in Chicago.
Right.
And, yeah.
Really? I did not know that about your character.
It was just before he had made the decision to run. But it's a compilation of a lot of different people.
Who else was involved in that?
Who else was involved
in your compilation of Matthew Santos? Who else were
Javier Becerra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's currently now in the he's now in the cabinet right now.
On the cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you meet any of these folks?
Yeah, absolutely.
You met Obama?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean,
no, I did. I remember being in Chicago with him. We were at federal employees speaking engagement thing, and we were backstage, and he was contemplating. He hadn't made the choice yet, and we had brief conversation about, is my family going to be up to the rigors of what this is going to take?
Of running.
Yeah, because it's not just.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard. It's hard.
So, were you the one who convinced him to run? Is what you're saying?
Go for it, Barack. Go for it.
And look at him now, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
And look at him now.
You owe me.
Next one, true or false? You used a snippet of yourself singing doo-wop on NYPD Blue to land your In the Heights role. Is that true or false?
Oh, wow. Wait a minute. How do you know that?
I don't know. These are all...
Somebody ratted me out there.
I don't know.
That was...
I don't know.
Yeah. I did. We did a compilation of little... Yeah.
Sending that on to Lin-Manuel Miranda? Or just
and John Chu, the director of the one who did a wonderful job. But I had known Lin before, and we knew that it wasn't the role. One of the reasons why I went on this audition for this film was because we knew that this particular character wasn't going to be doing heavy lifting vocally. He wasn't going to be doing arias and stuff. So they just wanted to know that I could blow a couple of notes.
Yeah. You just said, hey, look, I'm no Leslie Odom, but I can still do this. Is basically what you're saying?
I used to sing on the corner in East New York and harmonize with the fellas. Do the persuasion thing.
And you used the snippet from NYPD Blue.
It was one. We did a compilation of little,
Okay. Fantastic. Well, it worked out for sure.
You got to ask Lynn if they actually got that. I think they did.
Okay, good. Well, obviously. Last one for you. I'm fascinated by this to see if it's true or false. Jimmy Smits. True or false, you once sang karaoke with Gregory Peck and Sidney Poitier. Is that true or false?
Oh, my God. You're making me sweat.
Why am I making you sweat?
Because you didn't get that from me. I don't know where you get that from.
What is it? It's called the internet, right? I mean, that's where we're getting it from. Is that true or false?
Google.
That's true.
Where the hell did that happen?
But I wasn't singing. They were singing.
How does one sing wind up at a karaoke bash with them?
I had the good fortune to be able to work with Mr. Peck on a film with Jane Fonda right after L.A. Law. And, I just get flushed with memories just thinking about it. And then my wife and I would get phone calls like, could you come over we're having a couple of friends over for dinner on the weekend, if you can come over.
From Greg. I was about to say, if it was Greg.
And his wife, Veronique, who was from France and just had this little...
So your phone you would lift up the phone, it would be Gregory Peck?
Yeah.
He called you Jim?
Come over come over for the weekend. We're going to have a few friends over. And that was the time when the Brat Pack was like, a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because I'll get to that. So I went to Greg's house, and then all of a sudden, and I don't want to start doing a name drop thing, but
you could, please.
Hollywood.
This is Los Angeles, Jim.
All Hollywood was walking in that door, like Walter Matthau, Q, Sidney, and my wife and I looked at each other like, F the Brat Pack. This is the deal right here. And to just see them, interact with each other and the humility and friendship that they had, the importance of knowing, we talk about platform and your brand and all that stuff now, but knowing that you have a responsibility not only to entertain but to enlighten. This was like part of these people's DNA.
Of course, and I assume Q, you mean Quincy Jones, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So you sang. Hold on a second. You sang.
I didn't sing. I watched them sing. Oh, they had a little. All of a sudden, after dinner and stuff like that, and a couple of drinks and stuff, they bring out the little. At that time, it was a little. That little. It looks like a Fender, like an old Fender thing, with the microphone attached, and they were singing.
And then you watched this karaoke go down.
I watched it go down.
That is amazing. I would love. Sidney Poitier singing a karaoke with Quincy Jones. Did Quincy's like the
Sidney kind of hummed.
He hummed. Okay. Oh man, outstanding. I didn't mean to make you sweat. These are all your stories are just amazing, Jimmy. Last one as well. I mean, what a blessing to be involved in the Star Wars world as well. Because I've got I've got a 14, and 11, and a 9. They would know you as the senator. You know what I mean? That. Because I haven't introduced them to NYPD Blue yet.
No, I hope not.
And East New York might wind up at some point. But they would know you as. How did you get involved in the Star Wars world, Jimmy Smits?
My agent told me that Mr. Lucas wanted to have a conversation, and we had a phone call, and he said, first of all, I just want to tell you, a lightsaber is not part of this conversation.
Is that what he said to you?
Yeah.
That was the opener?
Wow. We're not talking about lightsabers, okay? We're not talking about
Did that
sabers.
disappoint you a little bit? A little bit deep down? A little bit?
Yeah. I got a little pretty
What do you mean I can't have a lightsaber? What?
Come on.
No, but he was talking about how he liked the work that he had seen, and he realized that that the franchise, well, he didn't call it a franchise, but
Sure.
that the world needed to have more of a diversity, and he promised that he would have me do a little bit of everything, and he lived up to that.
He sure did. And then, because again, now there's the TV version with Obi-Wan. You did that as well, which was dynamite. I saw that.
It's become a thing now, right? Now
Well, it sure has. And now, do you have any more plans to do any more of that
Can't
stuff?
talk about it.
Uh-oh.
I got to kill you if I.
Yeah, I guess we're outside of the true-false construct now. So
There's a whole thing about like origin stories, and all these characters get origin stories now.
Right.
So that's, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, I'd love it.
Thank you.
You're awesome, Jimmy Smits.
Oh, Richie, come on, man.
It's the truth.
Thank you. You're awesome.
It's the truth.
Run, Rich, run.
That's. I appreciate that you say that.
I love what you do, man, with that.
Thank you, Jimmy.
God bless you.
It is a blessing to have the opportunity to do that. I give credit to my wife and some folks at the NFL for coming up with the idea. So it's great, man.
But that's what it's all about. I mean, we love doing what we do, and how do you take that to the next level?
And give back and make sure that
everybody doing a little bit.
That's it. Whatever my nonsense that I'm doing running in my suit, if we can raise money for kids, I'd love to do it.
I got to clock you, man. What's that?
No, you don't. By the way, that's false. You
do all right.
You could clock me with a sundial, brother. That is for sure. No question about that. Jimmy Smits, check him out in CBS's East New York, which is at 9 p.m. Sunday nights on CBS. It just premiered this past Sunday. You could stream it live and on demand on Paramount Plus every single Sunday night at 9 Eastern Time. And Paramount Plus available right here on Roku as well. Thanks for coming in, Jimmy.
Thank you.